Greetings, RC model geeks. And here we are in the shed yet again for part 26 of the Sarik Hobbies de Havilland, Canada Chipmunk build. Roll of honour for the day, very quickly. Thank you to Tom. Tom has been a long time supporter of the channel. If you remember, he sent us the Cessna jet and also the bird as well. And he wrote me a letter and put in it a cheque for the shed fund. So thank you very much, Tom. Right. So today we're going to start off. I think we're going to do the tail wheel. There it is. Boom, boom. It's basically a piece of piano wire with a tin plate horseshoe on the bottom of it. You can see it there, hopefully. So that's what we're going to make first of all today, just to do something a bit different, because as you all know, I hate wings. So anyway, I took the wing off the bench after it's overnight drying. That looks all good anyway, but we're going to do this tail wheel first. So I really need to look and see what wheels I've got that might be the right size. Let's have a measure of it, shall we? Make sure that that reads 0. I think this one is on the way out. Yeah, another vernier bites the dust. Right, this tail wheel, 1.5 inches. So I need to find 1.5 inch wheel if I've got one. I'm sure I have somewhere, but obviously it sort of roughly wants to look the part. But yeah, so like I said, it's made of a piece of piano wire, a piece of tin plate bent into a horseshoe, and a ply plate that is going to be mounted in the fuselage, and the piano wire is going to be sewn onto the ply plate. And they supply a laser cut ply plate there if you've got the plan pack, and as you can see, it's already got the holes laser cut in it. So I'm going to go and find a wheel and then find some piano wire. I think I'll probably use the same piano wire that I used yesterday for that crank. Yeah, and we use a tin plate that we've already used before on a few things as well. So right, back when I've found some of this stuff. Right, so here is my interpretation of the tail wheel assembly. Okay, and the wheel will go on there like that. So what we've got to do now is make up a tin plate horseshoe that's going to go round there like that. So that's the next thing to do. This wheel is very loose on there. You can see the hole's massive compared to what we've got here. So what I'm going to do with the brass tube that I already had, I'm just going to bush the wheel, which just happens to be the right size there, with a bit of brass tube like that, and then that's a perfect fit, of course, over that piano wire. So yeah, horseshoe next. Like I said, we'll make it out of a tin plate, as they say on the drawing, and of course we've got tin plate because we've used it on other bits and pieces. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. So I've just cut out a straight strip of tin plate at the moment with 2 holes in it, one at the top there and one here. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to silver solder the plate here to this side of the piano wire. Now I've got it, it looks a bit of a funny shape at the moment because I've actually got it sprung so that it's holding against the piano wire, that horseshoe shape, just to make it easier to silver solder. Once that's done, we can sort of finally form this bit back into shape again, and Bob's your uncle. And to get the taper, if you look, there's a taper on the drawing here of this horseshoe, and we'll basically sand that. We'll put it on the belt sander and just sand the metal to that taper. Easy. So I'm gonna solder that up. Like I said, I'm going to silver solder it, I think, again, and then we'll see what happens. It might be a disaster, but we'll give it a go. We can only try, can't we? If we don't try, we will never know. Back in a minute. Okay, there it is. That is as good as it's going to get. What we can basically do here is this will actually come apart like that. We can put the wheel on with its bushing like that, close that back up like that, and we'll put a nut on here. We'll just cut a thread, put a nut on there, the whole thing screws together, and there is our tail wheel. Once that's painted, look good, wouldn't it? So yeah, like I said, it needs a brass bush in there as well, just to stop the wheel wibbly wobbly so much. But yeah, that's come out okay. Happy with that. Now, the other thing I was thinking of doing is, when we put the tail wheel on, this plate here, I'm thinking of making that removable. Okay. Now, if we do that, then we've got the possibility to get into here. So if anything ever happens to our rudder linkage or our elevator linkage, we can basically remove this plate with the tail wheel on it and get in there. So I'm thinking I am going to do that. Oh yes. But that is for the future. So, where were we with our tail wheel? So this tail wheel needs to go up through there, up through there, up through there, like that. Right, there we go. So that is the whole assembly, basically. That's going to be stitched onto there. That's going to be bolted up, whole thing painted. Bob's your uncle, whang, sorted. So that's good. So what are we going to do next? I think, just so we get Ray's traced drawing safely out the way for good, I think I will make the aileron and the flap this afternoon for the other wing panel. That's really the only major bit of building work we haven't done. So yeah, after a relaxing morning of tail wheel making, we'll have an unrelaxing afternoon of wing making. Oh yes. So I'm going to have some lunch and then come back and do the wing. Right, slight change of plan. I'm going to make the other set of hinges and horns for the flap and aileron first, and then I'll get on with making the flap and the aileron itself. So I'm going to cut these up first, make a horrible mess, and then we'll get on. Okay, so I've made up those second set of hinges and horns. And so what we're going to do now, I'm going to put eyelets in. Obviously you don't have to do that. I'm just doing it because I wanted to. And I've got the eyelet just sort of sitting in the hole there at the moment. And I've got a little tool here, which is like a tool that splays over the other end of the eyelet. It's got a little spring-loaded titty on there as well. And basically you put it over like that. I'm going to need a hammer. Let me go and get it. Now, in life, you only need one size of hammer. Big. So, we're going to put that on there like that. We're going to put the other tool, which is another tool with a little titty on it, over the eyelet. And then we're just going to tap. And there we have an inserted eyelet. That will do the job, and it'll act as a bit of a bearing. So we've got to do that again. Now these are M2 eyelets. Now I'm only doing the holes that are for the hinges. I'm not doing the holes for the push rod. So I'll get that in there again. Gently tap her through. Give her a bash. There you go, another eyelet in there. So that's two. Another one. Now these M2 eyelets will go in a hole that's 2.5 mil diameter. There we go. And that's what I've drilled into these horns. There's another one. One more to go, because the flap horn doesn't have one. It's got a couple of hinges, but there's no hinge connection on the flap horn. See that? It's just got one hole. Right, so let's do the final one here. Push her through the hole. Now there's no way this is ever coming out again, so you know, you don't have to worry about gluing it as well or anything like that. And there it is. So those are all ready to go now. Now I got these off these eyelets off eBay. You know, it's a pack of eyelets for like not much money, and then I got the tool as well off eBay separately. I said that's an M2 tool, and the idea of this spring-loaded spigot here is when you're bashing the whole lot down like that, the spigot stays through the eyelet and stops the hole closing up. Now you also get a punch as well. Obviously not much use for punching glass fibre, but great if you're doing leather. Right, so that is that. Time to move on to building the flap and aileron, I think. Finally. Did I say on to building the aileron and the flap? Now, if you're like me, you've forgotten to do these, which are the mountings that go on to the wing itself. So we need to put some more eyelets in there. Well, you don't need to, of course. Like I said, I'm just doing it because I fancy doing it. It's just an idea I had. And I thought, well, do you know what? Let's give it a try. If it fails, doesn't it? But if you don't try, you will never know. So let's load up another eyelet. Get it through the hole. There we go. Through the pin, onto there. Tappity tap, tap, tap. Now you can get these things quite flat if you give them a good old clout, because they're only like brass. Beautiful. There's another one. Same again. Now you see, these are meant to have, when you make these, you're meant to have like a washer in between, but you know, you don't need that washer. Now you've got these brass ferrules in there, and of course when you come to take them apart, you're not going to end up dropping washers all over the place, so that's always useful as well. There we go, there's another one. Right, last one. And then I've got to come up with a use for the other, whatever, 90 or so eyelets. So I think I might become, I don't know. Shall I start making shoes? Yeah. I'll become a cobbler. I taught cobblers, so might as well become one, eh? Right. Here we go. Tappity tap. Get it located. Bang, bang, bang. Perfecto. So, there we have it. Now we can get on with the flap and the aileron. Okay, here we go again. So, plan, or traced plan, back on the bench, covered in plastic. So, we're going to build second aileron and flap. I've got the leading edge of the flap and aileron here. Now, you need to put a taper on this piece of wood. I don't know if you can see whether it will show up or not. Stick it through my fingers like that, see if it will. There's a taper there, taper there. You need to put that in beforehand so that the whole thing sits nicely when you come to glue it together like that. And that's how it's going to go, basically. So we've got to go along, glue all those edges in. We could technically put this down first and then plonk the whole thing on top, but I think it's better to put that on after so we can build the whole thing sort of flat. and then add the other bits. So I'm going to go along and glue all of these ribs into position, and then Bob's your uncle, I think. I'll have a think about it, see if I can think of an easier way to do it, but I'm pretty much sure that that is the simple way. Yeah. Yeah, that is the way to do it, I think. So I'm going to get gluing, glue, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I had a little bit of a think about the best way to make this aileron and flap. And what I've actually done is I've glued the bottom strip onto this leading edge of the flap and aileron. So it'll basically, you can just sort of slot it together then, a bit like that. Makes it a bit more rigid while you're trying to glue it all together as well. So that is the way I'm going to put that together. I think that'll work quite well. I can't remember how I did the other one. it was so long ago now. I can't remember exactly the method I used. So yeah, that is the way I like so far. You know, it just relies on you sanding that taper, or razor planing that taper onto that leading edge bit of wood. If you get that right, then the whole thing goes together quite easily. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start. I've already glued in the first one of these ribs here onto that back strip. Just got to glue it at the front. I might do one halfway and then one at the end, just to get a bit of rigidity in the whole thing, and then just slot in the rest of the ribs. That's an easy way to do it. What you also got to remember is you want a little bit of an overlap here, because there's one of those rib hinge things that's got to go in. I think it's that one that's got to go in there. So you need to offset this rib here, the thickness of that, so that it just slots inside. So I'm going to get on gluing. Right, well, that was a bit of a long slog, but we got the aileron and the flap all glued together. Now, one thing I forgot to mention was, don't forget to put your little wedgy bit of wood that you've used before, with the long taper on it, underneath the trailing edge as you're building it. That just sets everything up nicely. And yeah, that's it. It's done. It's just all gluing off now. What I do with the trailing edge is basically like two bits of wood, one on top of the other, like that. And it can go a bit wibbly wobbly and a bit soft. So what I do, I fill the gap with wood glue and just let that dry off, the whole gap that's in between that sandwich. It makes it nice and stiff then. Yeah, and it won't go wibbly wobbly on you. But I'm going to leave that to dry off overnight, and then hopefully we can do some more tomorrow, or somewhen. We'll have to see when. Anyway, another roll call. Latecomers for the day. Roll of honour. Donald, thank you Donald. And also the Humidor Cigar Shop. Humidor Cigar Shop. Thank you to them for their donation as well. And it wasn't cigars. So that's it. Don't forget to go and look at Sarik Hobbies website. See what's on there. And if you like something you want to buy, go and buy it. And mention RC Model Geeks. They've got plans, they've got wood, they've got loads of other stuff as well, consumables and things. So yeah, go and have a look at their website. So I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, who knows, let's see how it goes. And don't forget, most important thing, the big shed. We're getting closer and closer, but we still need a few donations in. Even if it's £1, £2, makes all the difference in the long run. So, link in the description for that too. See you all later. Bye.
Thank you for watching Captain Rob's RC Model Geeks. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click that like button. If you want to see more of the same type of videos, don't forget you can subscribe. If you want to support us, you can use PayPal, paypal.me/RC Model Geeks. If you want to contact us, you can email us rcmodelgeeks@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.